Do you believe in the paranormal? I didn't believe it until I moved with my friends to an apartment in an old house. This story still makes my blood run cold. I moved to a big city with the idea that I would start a new life here. At first I lived in a hostel. I had several friends in this city who also moved, and we decided to cooperate and find an apartment together. The search did not last long, and we coped with the task in just a couple of days. The apartment was located in an old building, which reduced the price, and in principle it was close to the center, so it suited us. It was Monday, and there were a lot of people who wanted to move in. So we arranged a meeting with the landlord on Wednesday, and began to wait and make plans for the future of life together. The day X came, the girls and I arrived at the appointed place. The house seemed strange to me from the entrance. But the apartment turned out to be quite nice and cozy, only cold. Two-room apartment, with a good repair. There were all conditions for housing, and I did not understand why she was still not busy, since 5 to 10 people watched her every day. It is worth saying that opposite our house, a couple of buildings away, there was an abandoned crematorium. When I found out, it became a little creepy, but in general it was all the same. We settled in quickly. Literally the next day everything was furnished as we were comfortable. On Thursday, Vicky and Stry had to go to work. They worked together in a shoe store. I was left alone in the apartment, as I had not yet managed to find a job after arriving in a new city. So after they left, I turned on my favorite TV show and decided to do cooking. I decided to bake an apple pie and make pasta, which my dad loves to cook so much. After turning on the first season of Supernatural, I started slicing apples. By the way, I adore Superman, but the first season is the most creepy for me. I didn't believe in the paranormal, but it was scary to sleep after watching the horrors. While I was standing, rolling out the dough, there was a series about Bloody Mary on TV, one of the most terrible. Suddenly there was a sound in the corridor. It was as if something had fallen. I didn't attach any importance to this, as I often imagined it. Literally 10 minutes later there was a knock on the door. I thought it might be the neighbors, or the postman, since I wasn't expecting anyone. But when I looked through the peephole, I didn't see anyone. But on the floor next to the dresser was a comb that had fallen earlier. Not noticing anything, I returned to the kitchen. It was necessary to load the pie into the oven. The TV started to malfunction. Some interference started, although the weather was good. While I was trying to set it up and figure out what happened, tap water started flowing in the bathroom. Then I was really scared, because something strange was clearly going on in the house. When I got into the bath, I was stunned. Hot water was gushing, so that the mirror fogged up. Letters began to appear on it. It was like someone was drawing with their finger. But there was no one. I was standing with my eyes wide open, and I saw the word, leave, looming on the mirror. Backing away, I tripped over the threshold and fell. I got up quickly and ran to the kitchen. And when I ran in, I stared at the TV. It went out, and I saw a black silhouette in the black screen. A chill ran down my spine. I was shaking with horror. When I turned around, I didn't see anyone. And I was already beginning to think that this was all the machinations of my imagination, since I had seen enough horrors. But when I turned around, I froze in fear. A girl with black hair was standing in front of me. She was wearing a light shirt. Anger was visible on her face. I was dumbfounded with horror, and could not move. The intercom rang, and the girl disappeared. Probably 20 minutes had passed when I realized what was happening and rushed to the intercom. They were girls. They came back from work. When they came, I told them what had happened. Siri and Vicky looked at me with eyes full of horror. And Vicky said that she also noticed something strange at night when she got up to go to the toilet. She told how the light flickered in the kitchen, and the faucet did not turn in the toilet, although it worked properly during the day. That same evening we decided not to stay at the apartment anymore. After calling the owners and explaining the situation, they told about the ghost. A family lived in this apartment about 3 years ago. Parents with their adult daughter. When the father and mother died, the daughter felt the loss very hard. She began to have strange dreams. According to neighbors, she screamed at night. She began to see the dead, who now and then walked the streets, next to the crematorium. Crazy, the poor thing hanged herself right in the kitchen. And since then, her ghost has been living in the apartment. I think it's understandable that we moved out the very next morning. And did not approach this area again. As soon as I got off the bus, I immediately appreciated the scale of the outage. The lights were not on in the houses, the street lighting was not working, the shops were temporarily closed because the cash registers also needed electricity. It is noteworthy that in some places the light still remained. Here is a house with a lantern burning at the entrance, and in the distance you can see the light coming from the station square. But, like an oasis, a stall glows in the middle of the street. I remember being amused by how people from all over the neighborhood gathered at this stall for beer. Exactly, an oasis. But in general, it all looked a little creepy and unpleasant. I stomped along the dark street, trying not to slip and break something, and without much curiosity I watched candles and lanterns appearing in one window or another. My phone rang twice. First, the girl asked me to buy candles if I could find a working store. Then a familiar married couple informed me that they were coming to visit us. After finishing the conversation with the latter, I turned into the courtyards to take a shortcut. In general, it was no darker there now than on the main street. As luck would have it, the night turned out to be moonless, and there was absolutely nothing to see. I was walking along the heating pipes when someone called out to me, "Hey!" I froze, not so much scared as outraged by the tactlessness of the invisible. "What do you need?" "Hey!" Of course, I didn't like it very much, but I still went to the call without any second thoughts. To shoot a cigarette or throw small things, I have never refused this. Soon, the outlines of two people appeared in the darkness, in which it was difficult to recognize the silhouettes of a man and a woman. I could not distinguish either their clothes or, especially, their faces. I only noticed that they were much shorter than me and somehow swayed strangely. "What do you want? Do you want a drink? Let's have a drink?" It also happens. I think a man was talking to me. His voice was a little strange, but if you judge, what else could be the voice of someone offering such a thing to the first passerby? "No, thanks. I do not drink." "Let's have a drink," the interlocutor persisted. "No. Good luck." I turned around and stomped away. "Hey!" They followed. "Let's have a drink." Time after time his voice did not become more insistent. He repeated it like a cipher to which I was bound to respond. Holy shit, I already said no. Go your own way before you get into trouble. Then maybe sex? The woman suggested. I was stunned. Are they completely idiots? Yes, then maybe sex? The man repeated. Or shall we have a drink? Are you really sick? I growled. Get out of here. I added a step, but I felt that the madmen were rapidly catching up with me, and I got ready for a fight. Maybe you need money? Come with us, we have money. Fuck you. At that moment, two silhouettes appeared to the right and left of me. The man grabbed my wrist with an iron grip, and the woman shoved me in the chest with her palm. I still haven't seen their faces. What do you want from me? I was scared. We have money, come with us. Fuck off. With all my might, I tore myself free with difficulty and quickly ran towards the house. Despite the fact that no one seemed to be chasing me, I ran all the way to the entrance. The electric lock of the intercom, of course, did not work. I ducked inside and found myself in the pitch darkness of the front door. I caught my breath, trying to collect my thoughts. What kind of psychos you will not meet in the dark courtyards of provincial towns? Meanwhile, the voices of neighbors could be heard from above, gathered to smoke and discuss the accident that happened at one of the substations. It calmed and relaxed me. I exhaled once more and, slowly, trudged to the stairs, when suddenly, hey! At first I was just stunned. They couldn't physically outrun me. Even if they had, I would have noticed them coming in the door. Even in this dark, I would have noticed them. Hey! Come with us. This has already been heard behind my back. With the speed of a sprinter, I flew to the topmost flight and, ignoring the surprised looks of the neighbors, rushed to my door. Friends were already sitting with us and talking quietly about something in the dark, sipping beer. I closed the doors with all the locks and collapsed on the sofa. He drank a beer and only then told about what had happened. Think about it. Kaylee laughed. They came up to us too. Some assholes, Bobby snorted. Just like you said. We just came out of the house and it was like, hey, come with us. It was at least an amazing coincidence. I came to my senses a little, drank some more. Meanwhile, during the conversation, all the jokes necessary in this situation were made. Homeless people are looking for the third. The internet has turned off for schoolchildren. It was necessary to go. Not every day such offers are poured out, and so on. 2 hours later, the lights were turned on. We sat for a while longer. Kaylee and Bobby called a taxi and went home. Molly and I went to bed, and I tossed and turned for a long time and remembered these strange people from the dark. Officially, nothing was announced, but, as they hammered into us at the time in pairs in Latin, Hod semper erat fama, that is, rumor is not always wrong. Somewhere from familiar policemen, somewhere from relatives, it soon became known that more than 60 people were missing that night. More than a year has passed, but they have not been found. Not a trace. 60 people, in a small town, in 4 hours. It wasn't just me and Kaylee and Bobby who met these suspicious types that night. Many people tell stories similar to mine. Of course, maybe it's all an incredible combination of circumstances, mass schizophrenia and all that. But even if it is, even if this is the case, where did the 60 people who were returning home that evening, just like me? Put a like. Subscribe to the channel so as not to miss new stories.